Hello everyone. This video is the second part of Elizabethan Age, and I have already made a video in which I have discussed some important authors like university wits, the name of some important dramatists, poetists, and prose writers of the Elizabethan Age. And in this video, I will discuss Shakespeare work and some important MCQ based on Elizabethan Age. So let's start. Shakespeare. The time period of Shakespeare was 1564. He Stanford upon Stanford upon Avon. He brought in this. He इस जगह पर वह पैदा हुआ था. And he didn't went any university. In 1577, he faced poverty, and his wife name was Annie Hathaway. In 1582. Ben Jonson wrote to Shakespeare that he knew small Latin and less Greek. This is very important quote which is usually asked in many exams. In 1578 he went London. He was dramatist, actor, playwright, theatre owner, entrepreneur and businessman. For him literature is just a business. During that time there were two theatres, Global and Blackfriars, and he died in 1616. He never published his work. He just wrote and never published his work. He wrote for only theatres. His first folio, which was the first collection of Shakespeare work by his friend John Hemmings and Henry Condell. This is known as first folio. In this folio, John and Henry published some important Shakespeare work. He wrote 154 sonnet, 37 plays and 4 long narrative poems, 10 tragedies, 17 comedies, 10 history plays. And critics divided Shakespeare's life into 4 parts. So the first phase is 1588 to 1593. The second phase is 1594 to 1600. Third is 1601 to 1608, and the last phase is 1608 to 1614. He worked under two monarchs. उसके समय में केवल दो ही मोनार्च थे जिनके अंडर उसने काम किया है, क्वीन एलिजाबेथ एंड जेम्स. Queen Elizabeth during the first and second phase, and James first during his third and fourth phase. So let's discuss about the first phase of Shakespeare life. The time period of first phase was 1588 to 1593. During that time he went London. John Lilly influenced him, and he wrote plays like Love Labor Lost, The Two Gentlemen of Verona, The Comedy of Error, A Midsummer Night Dream, Romeo and Juliet, which was a play, and at that time it was the age of teaching, teaching. The second phase is 1594 to 1600. Some important plays which were written in this period was Richard II, King John, The Merchant of Venice, Henry IV, Henry V, The Taming of the Shrew, The Merry Wives of Windsor, Much Ado About Nothing, As You Like It, Twelfth Night, and he wrote play casually, राइटिंग इंडिपेंडेंटली एंड ओरिजिनलिटी, यानी कि वो कैजुअली प्लेस को लिखता था. हिज थर्ड फेज was during 1601 to 1612. During that time he bring comedies and tragedy comedies in his sorry, I just forget about phase third. Phase third, 1600 to 1608. During that time he wrote tragedies, and at that time he reached peak of his career. Very important works were written in this phase, like Julius Caesar, Hamlet, All Well That Ends Well, Measure for Measure, Othello, Cholus and Cressida, King Lear, Macbeth, Antony and Cleopatra, Coriolanus, Timon of Athens. and see darker side of human. In this phase, he see the darkened side of human. The phase 4, with the time period of this phase, was 1608 to 1612. At that time, he bring comedies and wrote tragedy comedies. The work qualities were poor. Some important works like Cymbeline, The Tempest, The Winter's Tale, Persiles, which was incomplete, and Henry VIII. Then, some important features of his drama. What were some important features of his drama? Was variety, range and versatility. मतलब कि उसके जो the themes of their play dramas were various range उसके अलग अलग होती थी और काफ़ी अलग होते थे वो. Excellent command on language. He used 15,000 word vocabulary in his work. Catering to the groundling. Groundling मतलब होते हैं कि जब थिएटर होता है तो थिएटर में कुछ जगह होती हैं जो अमीर लोगों के लिए होती है और कुछ जगह ऐसी होती है जो कि गरीब लोगों के लिए होती है, जिनमें ग्राउंडलिंग्स जिनको कहा जाता है. तो उसने ग्राउंडलिंग्स को भी जो है वो प्रेफर किया था थिएटर में. नाउ लेट्स डिस्कस एलिजाबेथन थिएटर. Elizabethan theatre, the time period was 1562 to 1644. This theatre was source of entertainment. Elizabethan जो है वो इस थिएटर को सपोर्ट करती थी. And history, comedies, tragedies were performed in theatres. Like first theatre was In Yard Theatre, Red Bull, Crosby, Bell Savage and the Red Lion. ये उसमें पब्लिश किए गए थे. ओपन एयर एम्पी थिएटर भी वहाँ पे थे, जैसे कि द थिएटर, द ग्लोब, द स्वैन. ये जो है उन थिएटर्स के नाम हैं, एम्पी थिएटर. फिर है प्ले हाउसेस जो है वो प्राइवेट हुआ करते थे और वहाँ पर जो है वो फ्लैग दिखाए जाते थे, जिससे हमें पता चल जाता था कि अब आज थिएटर में कौन सी चीज़ जो है वो परफॉर्म होने वाली है. लाइक वाइट फ्लैग डिनोट्स कॉमेडी, रेड फ्लैग डिनोट्स हिस्ट्री एंड ब्लैक फ्लैग डिनोट्स tragedy. 3 flag hosting on theatre. At that time, no female actresses were allowed to perform in the theatre. First theatre building जो है वो the theatre थी, which was published in 1576. But this theatre was rebuilt and become the Globe. Now let's discuss the poetry at the time of Elizabethan. Lyrical ballads. Lyrical ballads talks about feeling of poets, and it is a form of sonnets. Now, Edmund Spenser. The time period of Edmund Spenser was 1552 to 1599. He wrote The Shepherd's Calendar, which was an allegory, published in 1579. Started Golden Age. इसके बाद Golden Age start हो गई थी. This The Shepherd's Calendar was dedicated to Sydney. Then View of the Present State of Iceland. It was written after returning in Ireland. जब वो Ireland से वापस आ गया था तब उसने लिखा था. Then Fairy Queen. It was a book with Walter Ragel help. Walter Ragel की help से इसने लिखी थी. It was an allegory. And characters represent virtue. And जो characters हैं वो virtue और vices को represent करते हैं. Amorti. It consists 88 sonnets, hymning honors of love and beauties, conflict in his mind between paganism and Christianity. Hymns in honor of love and beauty के अंदर उसमें इसके माइंड में जो एक कॉन्फ्लिक्ट था पैगिज्म और क्रिश्चियनिटी को लेके, उसमें उसको डिपिक्ट किया है. मदर हर्बर्ट टेल. इट इज़ अ सटायर ऑफ नेग्लेक्ट आर्ट एंड लेटर्स. नाउ द स्पेनिश ट्रेजेडी. Some important other works were the Spanish tragedy. ठीक है, Spanish tragedy है. Now let's discuss the main authors and their work. Like Ben Jonson. The time period of Ben Jonson was 1572 to 1637, and he wrote like Bartholomew Fair 1614, Catiline in 1611, Cynthia Reville 1600, Epicure 1609, The Silent Woman, Every Man in His Humor, Every Man Out of His Humor, The Alchemist, The Mask of Blackness, The Poetaster, Chimberwood as Discourses, Walpole, A Table of Tub. Then, other important dramatist of the time was Thomas Middleton. His lifespan was 1580 to 1627. He wrote A Chaste Mind of Cheapside, A Fair Quarrel, a James, a Games at Chess, A Trick to Catch the Old One, Michael May's Term, The Changeling, The Revenge's Tragedy, The Roaring Girl, Woman Beware, Woman. Then John Webster. He wrote two important works, The White Devil and The Duchess of Malfi. Then John Fort, 1586 to 1639, it was his lifespan, and he wrote The Lover's Melancholy, Penrick Warbeck, The Broken Heart, Tis Pity She's a Hole. Then Philip Marshinger. Philip Marshinger, 1583 to 1639. Some important work was A New Way to Pay Old Debts, The City Madam, The False One, The Fatal Dowry, A Maid of Honor, The Virgin Matron. Thomas Dekker, 1578 to 1632. His important work, The Glues Holbrook, Satyromastic, The Bellman of London. And Thomas Heywood, An Apology of Actress, A Woman Killed with Kindness, and Lover's Mistress. Then Francis Bacon. Francis Bacon was the founder of English essays, and he wrote so many essays. 1603 to 1618. Founder of modern Semitic thought. He wrote so many essays, like 59 essays. The first edition, his first edition of essays was published in 1597, and the final edition was published in 1625. His important work was Advancement of Learning, Commentaries Solutus, De Sapientia Veritum, and Novum Oracum, The New Atlantis. Then Walter Aggie, 1552 to 1618, The Lie, What is Our Life, The Discovery of Guiana, The History of World, The Ninth Reply to Shepherd. Then Christopher Marlowe, 1564 to 1593, Dido Queen of Carthage, Dr. Fortus, Edward II, Hero and Leander, Tremulin the Great, The Jew of Malta, and Passionate Shepherd of His Love. तो ये हमने कुछ इंपॉर्टेंट जो है वो वर्क्स करे हैं डिफरेंट इंपॉर्टेंट ऑथर्स के. अब हम एमसीक्यूज देखते हैं, कुछ इंपॉर्टेंट एमसीक्यूज एलिजाबेथन एज के ऊपर. जैसे कि योवेजेस रिटन बाय, योवेजेस किसने लिखा है? रिचर्ड हैकलियट ने. उसके बाद है मैन इज द मेकर ऑफ हिज ओवन फेट, ये किसने बोला है? फ्रांसिस बेकन ने. अनदर नेम ऑफ ट्रेजेडी ऑफ गोरबोडक का क्या नाम है? फेरेक्स एंड पोरेक्स. ब्लैक वर्स इंट्रोड्यूस्ड इन इंग्लिश लिटरेचर इन सुरलेस ट्रांसलेशन ऑफ, मतलब ब्लैक वर्स इंग्लिश में इंट्रोड्यूस्ड हुआ था, सुरले का ने एक ट्रांसलेट किया था किसी वर्क को, उसके बाद से ब्लैक वर्स आया था इंग्लिश में, वो है एनईडी. हु सेड शेक्सपियर इज अबव ऑल मॉडर्न राइटर्स, द पोएट ऑफ नेचर? डॉक्टर जॉनसन ने ये बोला था. देन द नेम ऑफ प्ले विद इन अ प्ले इन हेमलेट, ऐसा कौन सा प्ले है जो कि प्ले विद इन अ प्ले है? वो है मर्डर ऑफ ग्रोनजाली. Who called Spenser the poet's poet? Charles Lamb. The chief function of literature is to instruct. Who said this line? Ben Jonson. Whom Shakespeare dedicate Venus and Adonis? किसको उसने dedicate किया था? Earls of Southampton. The line to be and not to be from Hamlet. Last play of Shakespeare was Tempest. Shakespeare's Roman play are based on which of the following sources? कौन से उसके रोमन प्लेस जो है वो कहाँ से उसने उसको सोर्स लिया है? नॉर्थन, प्लूट्राच, पैरेलल, लव्स. शेक्सपियर इंग्लिश हिस्ट्री प्लेस आर बेस्ड ऑन होली शिट क्रोनसाइल. सिडनी अकाडिया इज सिमिलर टू मोर्स का यूटोपिया. मार्लोस माइटी लाइन किसे कहा जाता है? ब्लैक वर्स को. देन रॉबर्ट ग्रीनी रिटर्न जॉइंटली विथ थॉमस लॉज के साथ उसने कौन सा वर्क लिखा है? ए लुकिंग ग्लास फॉर लंडन एंड इंग्लैंड। शेक्सपियर मास्टरपीस ऑफ पिक्टोरिकल आर्ट वाज वेनियस एंड अडोनस। पोडेस्टो इज द सोर्स ऑफ वन ऑफ शेक्सपियर प्ले द विंटर्स टेल। पोडेस्टो जो है वो एक सोर्स है शेक्सपियर के किस प्ले का? द विंटर्स टेल का। लाइफ इज अ टेल बाय एन इडियट अटर्ड बाय मैकबेथ। What is in a name occurs in Romeo and Juliet. Then Beckon published his 10 essays in 1597. Best translator of Elizabethan Age was Thomas Nash, and the History of Cromwell 1577 was published by Hornchild. So this is all about some important MCQs of Elizabethan age. In our next video, I will discuss some important. I will discuss the biography of Shakespeare and also some important MCQs related to the works of Shakespeare, which are usually asked in UGC NET exam and different many like PGT and TGT exams. So that's all for today.